This pathetic loser gets confessed by the hottest girl, but when he goes to seal the deal, she turns out to be an assassin who wants him to be isekai'd. However, it then turns out that he's from the strongest assassin clan, so his bodyguards save him. This all begins at Iga 3rd Junior High. Itoki Sakuraba looks like a normal student, but his life is anything but normal. One day in class, he notices something strange outside, but his friends distract him before he can think about it. After that, everything seems routine again: school, cram classes, and hanging out. Still, unlike other kids, Itoki's schedule is packed with extra lessons because he comes from a wealthy family. When his friends invite him to go have fun, he nearly agrees, but a masked girl nearby shuts that idea down fast. Her name is Kosetsu, and she works with his mother, keeping watch over him and making sure he stays focused. So even when he wants freedom, someone is always there checking his every move. While worrying about his future, Itoki realizes he is late for cram school and sprints off using shortcuts. His dramatic run catches the eye of a red-haired girl. Around the same time, at a local supermarket, daily life carries on. Workers deal with rude customers, and Takasada gets scolded by Mitsuzo for his attitude. Then the store owner appears, who turns out to be Itoki's mother, and asks Tokisada to bring her son home. Back at the house, Itoki and his mother cook dinner together. He talks about wanting a normal teenage life, like getting a part-time job or going out more. But his mother only cares about studying. She is so strict that she even arranged for Kosetsu to watch over him every day. Then, something unexpected happens. Itoki receives a love letter. Excited and nervous, he goes to meet the girl who sent it. She turns out to be Satomi Tsubaki, the same red-haired girl who noticed him earlier. Their conversation is awkward, but Satomi speaks with intense feelings, almost like she has known him forever. Itoki gets embarrassed, but also thrilled. For the first time, he feels like he is really getting to enjoy his youth. He even lies to his mother so he can skip Sunday practice and go on a date. But his mother immediately sees through him. At first, she seems curious, but once she learns this girl is basically a stranger, her mood changes. She forbids him from skipping class and tells him not to meet Satomi again. That only makes Itoki more determined. Angry at how controlling his mother is, he ignores her and goes out with Satomi anyway. The date takes a shocking turn when Satomi invites him to her house. He is already nervous, and things get even stranger once they are alone in her room. The silence is awkward, and just when he tries to relax, Satomi suddenly takes off her dress without warning. Itoki panics and pushes her away. Trying to laugh it off, he jokingly asks if there is a hidden camera somewhere. Then he checks under the bed and finds a terrifying red eye staring back at him. That is when Satomi drops the act. Her sweet personality vanishes instantly. She pulls out a knife and attacks him, revealing that the entire confession was a setup. She was never interested in him at all, she came to kill him. Before she can finish the job, Kosetsu appears and saves him. She drags him out, throws him into a black car, and disappears again. Inside are Raiha and Mitsuzo, both dressed in strange gear, telling him they are taking him somewhere safe. But another vehicle appears, and suddenly they are being chased. During the escape, Raiha pushes Itoki out of the car and orders him to run into town and hide among people. She and Mitsuzo stay behind to fight. Itoki has no idea what is happening, but he runs anyway. By the time he reaches town, night has fallen. The streetlights begin switching off one after another, making everything feel eerie. He meets a police officer who seems ready to help. But before anything can happen, the same red-eyed threat appears and kills the officer right in front of him. Terrified, Itoki keeps running, but he is just a normal boy and cannot defend himself. He gets captured, beaten, and tied up. Just before losing consciousness, he sees Takasada arrive to save him. When he wakes up, he is back in the car with Kosetsu beside him. Soon, he is taken home, where a group of people, including his mother, relatives, and family allies bow to him with deep respect. That is when his mother finally reveals the truth. They are all ninjas. The peaceful lives they live in public are only disguises. They belong to Iga Village, one of the hidden ninja clans that have stayed out of sight for generations. But now, Koga Village, a rival clan, wants to destroy Iga and take control. Satomi and the others who attacked him were all from Koga. Then comes the biggest shock of all. Itoki is the rightful 19th heir of Iga. Everyone, including Mitsuzo, Tokisada, and Raiha, kneels before him and calls him young master. His mother explains that she raised him strictly to prepare him for this exact moment. He was always meant to inherit this role. Itoki cannot handle it. Yesterday he thought he was just an ordinary student. Now he is being told that ninjas are real, enemies want him dead, and his whole life has been built on secrets. He wants to reject it all, but Mitsuzo warns him that the outside world cannot protect him. Only Iga can. Seeing how overwhelmed he is, Tokusada takes him aside and quietly gives him another choice. He can run away. That option, Tokusada says, came from Itoki's mother herself. Then he tells him about his father, the former leader of Iga, who died when Itoki was still very young. After that, Yumika, his mother, stepped up and carried the burden of protecting the village on her own. That truth breaks Itoki. He realizes how much his mother has sacrificed and knows he cannot abandon her. Through tears, he accepts what he has to do. Elsewhere, Satomi, furious at her failure, swears she will kill him no matter what. In Koga's headquarters, their leader pushes for Iga to be crushed as soon as possible. The next day, Raiha wakes Itoki and tells him that his old life is over for now. For his safety, he must leave regular school and enroll at Kokuten Ninjutsu Academy, the only public ninja school in Japan. It is a secure place where only students are allowed, making it the safest option for him. After watching the academy's intro, Itoki learns he has to take the entrance test almost immediately. It all feels rushed, but there is no turning back. Meanwhile, Yumika keeps acting cheerful at the supermarket, even though Kaga's pressure is closing in. Raiha also explains the NSC, the National Ninjutsu Safety Committee, which was created after a major ninja war 70 years earlier, to keep the villages from destroying each other again. That evening, Itoki talks with his mother about his father and his fears for the future. All Yumika can do is encourage him and tell him to keep going. The following day, Kosetsu and Tokusada escort him to the academy entrance exam. The test site turns out to be inside a Koga-owned shopping center, making things even more suspicious. Once inside, Kosetsu gives him a coded phrase to use, and he is led into a hidden room where the other applicants are waiting. The exam is explained. It is a hide-and-seek match. One student hides, the other searches. If the hider avoids being found, they pass. If the seeker finds and touches them, they pass. The test lasts 10 minutes and is monitored by cameras. Itoki is paired with a blue-haired girl named Yasukawa, but when he looks closely, he is horrified. It is actually Satomi in disguise. When the game begins, Itoki goes after her, confused and on edge. He does not realize someone is sneaking up to kill him, but Tokusada secretly stops the assassin before anything happens. Kosetsu then warns Itoki that Koga agents have infiltrated the area, turning the exam into a real danger zone. Soon after, she saves him again from another hidden attacker, using optical camouflage. Then she rushes off to fight, leaving Itoki to continue alone. With no real ninja experience, Itoki has to think fast. He grabs a fire extinguisher, triggers the fire alarm, and fills the area with smoke. The sprinklers go off too, ruining the enemy's stealth gear and exposing their positions. In the chaos, he finally spots Satomi. She attacks immediately, but Kosetsu returns just in time to block her. Satomi's actions end up exposing her, and the exam staff catch her. Right after that, the proctor announces that the test is over. Later, the proctor questions Itoki's reckless method, pointing out that a ninja should avoid causing a scene. But Itoki explains his choice clearly. He saw regular people nearby, and did not want innocent bystanders dragged into danger. So, instead of thinking like a ninja, he acted to protect everyone first. On the way back, Itoki thinks he failed, and his future is ruined. Tokusada jokes about spending slaving away his rest of life. Then he gets a call and reveals the shocking news Itoki passed. That same night, over at Koga, an NSC officer announces that Satomi and 4 others broke multiple serious rules. Koga's leader quickly pulls out papers, claiming those 5 had already been kicked out before all this, and were officially treated as rogue ninjas. Basically, Koga is trying to wash its hands of the whole mess. The NSC captain still warns them that their behavior looks shady, then leaves. Not long after, Satomi is found dead in her cell. No one knows if she ended her own life or if someone else did it for her. Meanwhile, Itoki goes back to his old school and says he is transferring to Tokyo. He tries to act normal while saying goodbye to his friends, but it clearly hurts. At the Iga estate, Yumika tells him to take his new school seriously and stay focused. Then he leaves with Tokusada and Kosetsu. Once they reach Tokyo, Tokusada drops them at a station and heads off. After riding through a bunch of stops, they finally arrive. As soon as Itoki steps off the train, he meets a cute red-haired girl with short hair named Ryoko Suzuno. She talks to him right away, and for a moment, being surrounded by other students makes him feel a little better. He even starts thinking this new school life might not be completely awful. That feeling does not last. While looking around, he gets separated from Kaosetsu and ends up in front of a group of guys. One red-haired student in particular looks at him like he already hates him. Before they can corner him, a blonde girl suddenly runs in, acts like she knows Itoki, and pulls him out of there. Once they are safe, she warns him that those boys are top students from Koga village, and making enemies of them would be a terrible idea. Then she introduces herself as Kirei. Kirei is cheerful, bold, and easy to talk to. But when she hears that Itoki is from Iga, she is shocked. In most people's eyes, Iga is practically finished. Later, all the students gather for the principal's speech, then head to class. By coincidence, Itoki, Kaosetsu, and Kirei end up in the same class. After that, Kirei takes them to the cafeteria and gives them a quiet warning: stick to the 10 yen meals. Anything better could attract attention from the Koga students, and that is the last thing they need. Those guys have money, power, and terrible attitudes. Sure enough, the second Itoki looks their way, the mood turns cold. Kirei quickly steps aside so she does not get pulled into the trouble. One of the Koga boys moves like he wants to start something, but then their leader, Suzaku, steps in. He explains that Lord Kishimaru, someone important to Koga, was killed by a ninja from Iga. Because of that, Koga's hatred for Iga runs deep. He makes it clear they have no intention of letting that go. Back in Iga territory, Takasada and Yumika are talking about something serious, showing that the problems are not limited to the academy. At school, Itoki and Kaosetsu head to their dorm. The place they are assigned is old, shabby, and creepy looking, while the Koga dorm nearby looks rich and polished. The difference is impossible to miss. That night, Kaosetsu talks to Itoki in his room. She tells him not to waste time thinking about Koga's insults because they are just trying to get inside his head. What matters now is training. Itoki accepts that and decides to focus on improving. The next day, their first real practical lesson starts. The topic is ninja suits and ninja cores, which every student seems to understand except Itoki. The teacher barely explains anything and just expects everyone to know what they are doing. Itoki tries to learn by watching the others. Then the challenge is announced. The students have to reach the roof of a castle on the second island and bring back a meat bun to prove they completed the task. Everyone launches forward immediately, except Itoki. He cannot even get his suit to move properly. Kaosetsu does not realize he is stuck and leaves him behind. The Koga students laugh at him, mocking him for being useless despite being Iga's supposed future leader. Even the teacher only tells him to hurry up without helping. Then Suzanone shows up. Instead of making fun of him, she gets excited over his suit and keeps talking about how nice it looks. Itoki is totally lost. Then, she casually gives him a shove, and suddenly the suit reacts. The only problem is that he shoots forward in the wrong direction and falls straight into a deep drop. Luckily, the suit protects him. Suzanone jumps down too and finally explains how the gear works. The ninja core is what powers and controls the suit, and using it right is everything. She also tells him she is from Saiga village, a clan known for making ninja tools. Elsewhere, Kaosetsu is climbing fast, but Suzaku knocks her down and takes first place by grabbing a bun before anyone else. More students finish soon after. Down below, Itoki and Suzanone are still catching up when Suzaku suddenly charges toward Itoki. Kaosetsu appears just in time and stops him. At the same time, Kirei manages to get a bun, but before she can return, some Koga students surround her. They steal what she earned and damage her ninja core too. Since the rules only care whether someone gets caught, nobody steps in. Another student gets bullied the same way. When Itoki finds Kirei's broken gear, he realizes what happened and jumps in to help. He tries to fight back, but the Koga group easily overpowers him and starts throwing him around. Even while getting beaten, he keeps protecting the ninja core so they cannot fully destroy it, which only irritates them more. Then he spots a chance. Itoki suddenly rushes one of the Koga guys. It looks reckless, but he is not actually trying to win the fight. Even though he gets tossed aside again, he manages to steal the guy's meat bun in the process. Before things get worse, the principal steps in and shuts the whole thing down. After the Koga students leave, the principal casually tells Itoki to hurry and grab a bun before they are all gone. Later, Itoki comes back and gives one to Kirei. She refuses at first, thinking he is giving away his own reward. But he explains that it is not his. It is the one he swiped during the fight. That means the bully he took it from now has no proof that he cleared the challenge. A moment later, Suzaku shows up and slaps his own teammate for embarrassing Koga in such a stupid way. Since Itoki still has not properly cleared the task himself, he asks Suzanone to take Kirei back while he keeps going. Through all of this, both Susanone and Kirei start to see him differently. He may not be skilled yet, but he is the kind of person who cannot ignore someone in trouble. When Itoki finally reaches the roof, the principal has left one last meat bun behind for him. Just when he thinks he is saved, the principal eats it himself, so after everything, there are no buns left. Once class ends, most of the other students avoid Itoki. Koga has already warned everyone not to get close to Iga students, so people stay away to avoid trouble. Kusetsu tells him not to take it too personally, and he tries not to. Later, at dinner, things feel a little better. Susanone joins Itoki and Kusetsu at their table, and Kirei comes too. Their meal is just the cheap cafeteria stuff, but the four of them still laugh and enjoy being together. Elsewhere, the NSC is looking into the case tied to Koga's leader. A new recruit named Shione Kazuki rushes into work. During the meeting, the evidence seems to point toward Iga, especially Tokisada. Afterward, Shione is assigned to keep an eye on him. The captain even shows footage of Tokisada fighting Koga ninjas recently. He moved so fast that the video only caught a blurry afterimage, which makes him seem dangerously strong. Around that same time, Tokisada visits a machine workshop to meet a man named Gantetsu. Back at the academy, the teacher announces there will be a theory exam in 2 days. That night in the dorm, Itoki brings a pile of study materials and asks Susanone to help him prepare. He is usually good at normal school subjects, but ninja theory is something else. Then Kosetsu and Kirei tell him the truth. This is not really the kind of test you study for. Before exam day, the answer sheet will be hidden somewhere, and the students are expected to use ninja tools and stealth to steal it. Anyone who gets caught fails immediately, so the real challenge is not memorizing information. It is pulling off the mission. After hearing that, Itoki, Kosetsu, Susanone, and Kirei decide to team up and go after the answers together. In the Koga dorm, the red-haired student tells everyone to hold back and wait for the best chance to go after Itoki. At school, Itoki is still awful at using his ninja suit and core, so Susanone steps in and fixes it herself. While helping him, she says the gear was made by her village. Then she opens up a little, saying she wants to become a maker, but her father wants her to live like a proper girl and leave the ninja world after graduation. That bothers Itoki. Later, he tells Kosetsu he doubts he can be a leader and feels bad for Susanone too. Kosetsu tells him being a ninja is not about doing what you want. Sometimes, you just accept your role. That night, Tokisada meets Gantetsu. Gantetsu shows him a puppet-like ninja tool and says he wants to sell it because Kaga keeps forcing unfair deals and asking for dangerous designs. Since he is from Saiga village, he does not want to end up under Koga's control. More than anything, he wants Susanone to live peacefully. Tokisada listens quietly. Back at the academy, 2 more students join Itoki's group after seeing him stand up to Koga. That same night, Tokisada heads out on a mission. At school, Itoki's group sneaks outside the classroom while the teacher is still inside. Using one of Susanone's gadgets, they spy on the room and find the safe, but Itoki makes a noise and ruins the plan. Everyone runs. They escape with grappling gear, though Itoki nearly falls before Susanone saves him. At the same time, Kirei and the others use smoke bombs to distract the teacher. Elsewhere, Tokisada sneaks into Koga Corporation, while Shione secretly follows him. Back at school, the group realizes the key is missing because the teacher took it. While Kirei and the others split up during the chase, Himura and several Koga students show up. Kosetsu goes to help, and Susanone gives up on finding the key and simply cracks the safe with a tool. Tokisada, meanwhile, searches Koga's building for the dangerous blueprint Gantetsu mentioned. Susanone gets the safe open and steals the answer sheet. Kosetsu is cornered for a moment, but Koga is more focused on finding Itoki. Tokisada had known Shione was behind him the whole time. He uses Gantetsu's puppet tool to confuse the guards and slips away, leaving her looking suspicious instead. The next day, Shione reports back. Her captain does not blame her. He just tells her to keep trying. Then the exam starts, and Itoki's group realizes they were tricked. The questions are completely different from the answers they stole. In another room, the Koga students are clearly enjoying it. They swap the answer sheet. While the others laugh, Suzaku stays silent. The group is crushed, but Susanone shyly admits she solved the whole test by herself anyway. Tokisada's mission also matters. Because of him, Gantetsu gets a huge order from Koga. Before leaving, Tokisada returns the puppet tool, and Gantetsu tells him something huge. Years ago, someone from Koga asked if a ninja core could be made to hold an enormous amount of power. Tokisada rushes back with that news. Yumika, Raiha, and Mitsuzo are shocked. Raiha remembers a dangerous secret core once sealed away by Iga, and Yumika confirms it was real. That makes it clear Koga may be preparing for war. Because Itoki's group failed, they get stuck with cleaning duty. Even though Susanone got a perfect score, she joins them anyway because they are friends. For a short moment, Itoki almost feels like he is living a normal school life. Then Kosetsu quietly tells him there may be a traitor among them. Itoki looks at the others laughing together and goes silent. Not long after, a student named Namoto suddenly takes long leave. Itoki remembers Namoto was part of their answer-stealing plan. Then the teacher announces the next exam will be the final one and warns everyone that serious injuries are common. After class, Kosetsu says Koga will definitely attack during the next test. But skipping it is not an option, because failing to join means expulsion. On the way back, they run into Suzaku, and he flat out tells Itoki that he is going to kill him. Elsewhere, the NSC captain explains to Shion that Koga got strong by pulling smaller villages under its control. Under Kishimaru, though, Koga once aimed for peace. Shion starts wondering why Iga would have wanted him dead at all. The captain says only that Koga's hatred for Iga is deep enough to start a war. Back at Koga headquarters, the current leader orders his people to win more villages over. He also says Suzaku has what it takes to become a future leader, and that no one took Kishimaru's death harder than he did. At the dorm, Itoki decides to leave the group because he does not want his friends getting dragged into danger. Kosetsu follows him, and it is clear this is also a way to avoid the possible traitor. Susanone runs after them and offers a camouflage tool she made, but Itoki turns it down because he does not want to cause more trouble. Later, he and Kosetsu talk alone. She suggests striking first instead of waiting for Koga. She says she will handle Suzaku, while Itoki takes care of the rest. He hates the idea because he is worried about her, and they end up arguing. Around that time, Yumika texts to check on him. He replies that he is fine, which comforts her a little, though she still worries that he hates her now. Later, Itoki meets the principal, and they go to the roof for tea and snacks. There, Itoki asks what has been bothering him. Are ninjas just killers? Koga thinks Iga murdered Kishimaru. Koga keeps trying to kill him. His father died because of this world too. So, is that all ninja life is? The principal says the world is ugly, but still worth protecting. Ninjas carry the dirty burden so others can keep believing in something better. Then he reveals that Kishimaru and Itoki's father once asked him that same question, and both said they never wanted to become men who only live to kill. That stays with Itoki. The next morning, he trains with Kosetsu in the woods. She teaches him movement and strategy. At one point, one of their planning sheets gets tossed aside, and that paper ends up in the Koga dorm. Suzaku and the others study it and use it to prepare for the final exam. Himura is unsure, but no one dares argue much. Suzaku tells them they should be ready to give everything for Kishimaru. Then the final practical exam begins. The stage is an abandoned building. Every student starts in a different place, and to pass, they must steal another student's ninja core before time runs out. If their own core is taken, they fail. The match starts. Kosetsu moves first. Koga follows its own trap, already knowing Itoki's group strategy because they got the paper. When Itoki reaches his assigned point, bombs explode and wreck the area. Kosetsu pushes through a few Koga students and goes after the traitor. The truth comes out fast. The discarded map had been picked up by the spy on purpose. The traitor breaks down and admits Koga threatened to wipe out his whole village if he refused. At the same time, Kosetsu heads to the place where Suzaku is waiting. The spy has already given away Itoki's location. Then Himura appears, and Itoki disguised as the spy tries to ambush him. But it is all a setup. The Himura in front of him is actually Suzaku in disguise, while the Suzaku somewhere else is really Himura. Kosetsu gets surrounded, though she manages to escape. Then Himura blows up the entire office. The blast destroys Kosetsu's ninja core and damages the others inside too. Elsewhere, the real Suzaku catches Itoki and beats him brutally, screaming about Koga's pain and loss. Even while badly hurt, Itoki keeps running. The fight turns into a chase through the woods. Suzaku keeps blaming Iga for Kishimaru's death, and says Itoki deserves to feel the same pain. But no matter how many times he gets knocked down, Itoki keeps getting back up. Finally, Itoki snaps back and says Suzaku is the one acting like a killer now. Suzaku says he knows nothing about pain. Itoki pulls out a knife too, and says that no matter how much someone suffers, murder is still wrong. Pain is not an excuse to spread pain. He refuses to live that way. Then he runs again. Suzaku chases him straight into a trap. gas explodes around him, and hidden weapons fly from every side. While fighting through it, Suzaku yells at Itoki to stop hiding. That is when Itoki rushes in, but he does not try to kill him. Instead, he smashes Suzaku's ninja core. Even after everything, Itoki refuses to become a murderer. Right after that, he collapses from exhaustion. Suzaku just stands there, staring at him in silence. When Itoki comes to, he is in the nurse's room, with Kosetsu, Kirei, and Suzunon all crowding around him. The moment they realize he is okay, the tension finally leaves their faces. Somewhere else, Himura is furious with Suzaku. After all the effort and losses, Itoki is still alive. Suzaku does not argue, he just takes the blame. Meanwhile, Tokisada is on the move again, and Shione is still shadowing him. While crawling through vents, she stumbles onto a chilling scene. Scientists gathered around a container holding Kishimaru's body, along with several ninja devices. Tokisada suddenly appears beside her, and the two leave immediately. That is when Shione realizes he wanted her to see it. He tells her to do what she needs to do, then disappears. Back at school, Kosetsu and Kirei both tell Itoki not to keep dwelling on the person who betrayed them. But while things seem calm on the surface, Kirei secretly meets Suzaku and accepts another order from him. Soon after, summer break begins, and the group heads to Itoki's home to spend the vacation there. Yumika welcomes everyone warmly, and even comforts Suzunon about the problems she has with her father. Still, Kosetsu quietly reminds Itoki not to relax too much. Since it is the anniversary of his father's death, Itoki leaves for a while. While he is away, Kirei snoops around the house and finds that the Iga home is packed with hidden weapons and expensive gear. She secretly sends that information to Suzaku by bird. It turns out, she took the job for money. After getting her message, Suzaku goes to his father and says he wants to join Koga's front line when they attack Iga. His father warns him not to repeat past failures, but Suzaku is too angry to listen and walks away. At the NSC, Shione reports what she saw. She believes Koga is doing something with Kishimaru's body, and may be preparing for a full assault on Iga. She wants the investigation turned toward Koga, but the captain tells her there still is not enough proof and orders her to keep monitoring Tokisada. Before visiting the graveyard, Yumika takes Itoki to a hospital. There, they visit Raya's husband, who has been in a coma for 5 years. After that, they go to Toki's grave. Itoki tells Yumika about what he heard from the principal, and she shares more about his father. She says he welcomed ninjas from other villages and never forced anyone to stay. She also reveals that Hayatoki died on a mission with Tokisada, which is why Tokisada has blamed himself ever since. Then she adds another painful truth. She was the one who sent Raiha's husband on the mission that left him in a coma. In the end, she reminds Itoki that being a ninja means carrying guilt that never really goes away. Later, Itoki and his friends go into town. The shopkeepers already seem to know who he is, and he soon realizes many of them are also part of Iga village. An old woman gives them candy, and inside each piece is a note telling them where to go next. That clue leads them to a stream, where they are told to catch 100 live sweet fish. Everyone else turns it into a fun contest, while Itoki struggles to keep up. During that time, Kirei opens up a little about her past. She says she never belonged to a proper village. Her parents were weak freelance ninjas who survived by clinging to stronger groups, and her father taught her that people are either predators or prey. While she is remembering all that, Itoki thanks her. He tells her she was one of the first people who helped him when he was lost and overwhelmed at school, and says he sees her as a truly kind person. Kirei does not answer. Afterward, the group brings the fish home to Raiha and Mitsuzo. They explain that the village is preparing its yearly memorial gathering for the former leader, and this will be Itoki's first time taking part. Everyone helps out. Tokisada tells Itoki that after the last leader died, the village started holding this event every year to support Yumika and keep everyone together. He also explains that Kosetsu had been abandoned as a child, and Yumika was the one who took her in. That is why Kosetsu is so loyal. In truth, the whole village cares deeply for Yumika. That night, the memorial feast begins. Everyone eats, drinks, laughs, and shares old stories. The villagers tell Itoki how, after Hayatoki died and Iga nearly fell apart, Yumika was the one who held everything together. Hearing all that while seeing everyone around him happy and united, Itoki feels deeply moved. He tells Yumika that he truly loves this village. She then asks him to come speak with her in private. Kirei notices and tries to follow, but Mitsuzo stops her. He talks about how much Itoki has had to give up and how worried he is for him. Then he sincerely thanks Kirei and Suzunon for being good friends to him. Those words clearly hit Kirei hard. Later that night, once things quiet down, Yumika tells Itoki about Aiga's hidden ninja core. It is an extremely dangerous power source that was sealed away long ago, and only each generation's leader knows where it is hidden. Then she places the Aiga Covenant scroll in front of him. If he signs it and accepts the seal, he will officially become a real ninja. She asks if he is ready. Itoki cannot answer right away. The next morning, he is still thinking about it while eating cold watermelon with the others. Suzunon assumes he is upset because vacation is ending soon, but he says that is not the reason. Instead, he asks whether everyone plans to become full ninjas after they graduate. Suzunon says that the moment you truly accept that life, that is when you become one. Just then, Mitsuzo rushes in with urgent news. The academy has suddenly been shut down. Officially, it is being blamed on student absences, but he clearly thinks something bigger is going on. He quickly brings Itoki to Yumika. There, they watch a strange news report about a rare flower event in Africa. Itoki is confused, until Tokisada explains that it is not really news at all. It is a hidden signal. The Great Ninja Council has been called. This meeting only happens when the NSC chief and the 13 highest pacification ninjas from the strongest villages agree to it. It is the gathering that decides the future of the ninja world in Japan. And now, after 70 years, it is happening again. At Koga headquarters, Kido Minobi calms the other leaders and quietly gives Housen a private task to handle in secret. Meanwhile, in Iga, Lady Yumika is getting ready to attend the Supreme Pacification Council. Itoki wants to go with her, but she turns him down. Their side is already late anyway because Tokisada took the wrong route. One of the other leaders makes a mocking comment, saying that even if Iga has fallen far from what it used to be, people still cannot ignore its name. Once everyone is seated, the meeting instantly turns tense. The village heads start trading sharp words and open hostility. Then Hayato, captain of the National Security Force, cuts in and tells them to stop acting like children. There is no point turning the council into a brawl. As the session begins, people notice one seat is empty. Koga explains that Seishu village has already been absorbed into their side and now follows Koga's decisions, which means they are no longer part of the council. They also reveal that Fuma village is now under their banner as well. Standing nearby, Kusetsu quietly points out to Yumika how suspicious it is that villages once close to Iga are slowly ending up under Koga's control. Then the main issue is raised. Hayato announces that someone has been violating the non-aggression treaty, the pact that protected peace for the last 70 years, and he says the one threatening that balance is Koga village. One of the leaders laughs it off and tries to reduce it to just another clash between Iga and Koga, but Hayato immediately rejects that. He says the problem goes far beyond their rivalry. He brings up several troubling signs. Many members of Seishu have disappeared. Koga's ninja tool factories show no trace of Seishu workers at all. Small villages around the country have suddenly gone silent. Even the academy has seen a regular pattern of unexplained withdrawals. Watching from outside, the other security officers are surprised that Hayato managed to collect so much on his own. Koga denies everything and says the accusations are made up. Hayato then asks the leaders of villages harmed by Koga to speak. Under the treaty, the testimony of victims carries major weight. If enough of them confirm the charges, Koga's leader can be arrested on the spot. But most of the leaders stay quiet, likely because they are afraid. Seeing that, Koga's side starts feeling safe. Then Yumika stands. Koga tries to shut her down by bringing up the rumor that Iga once killed a leader. Yumika answers firmly that the story is nothing but slander and lies. She says she never gave such an order, and nobody in Iga acts that way. Then she turns the pressure back on Koga. She says Iga has already uncovered evidence that Koga has been building new kinds of ninja weapons. On top of that, there is reason to believe Koga is targeting Iga's secret ninja core. According to Yumika, Koga is using revenge as an excuse to invade Iga and expand its own power. Then she says something that shocks the entire room. If the secret core becomes the spark that starts a war, Iga will destroy it themselves. The other leaders are stunned, because that core is one of Iga's greatest defensive strengths. Yumika explains that the core was passed down through generations to honor the ancestors who created it. But it was sealed for a reason. Its power is too dangerous. If keeping it alive means dragging the ninja world into conflict, then Iga will erase it to protect the wishes of the past. A representative from Fuma fires back, calling Iga liars, thieves, and killers. Yumika rises to meet that accusation head-on. She says, what matters now is not old hatred, brute force, or hidden schemes. What matters is protecting peace between people. She says Iga is willing to let the past stay buried if that is what it takes to protect harmony. Her words begin to shift the mood in the room. A speaker from Bison Village finally stands and accuses Koga of crushing smaller villages and scattering families. She says Koga's actions drove her grandmother into despair and eventually to suicide. Then another representative speaks up, saying Koga's pressure nearly destroyed their business. After that, more and more village leaders rise one after another to speak about Koga's abuse. With testimony piling up, the meeting swings hard against Koga. And under the treaty, Koga's leader is about to be arrested. Then the whole situation flips. Genji, captain of NSC Unit 2, suddenly enters and claims that new evidence has been found in the case involving the murder of Kishimaru, Koga's former leader. The room freezes. He presents analysis taken from cameras, saying that the sound recorded at the scene matches the frequency and wavelength of Iga's ninja core. Even though the evidence looks tampered with, the accusation lands. Yumika is taken in for investigation. She stays calm because she knows she did nothing wrong. Before leaving, she tells Tokisada to remember what must be protected and to pass a message to Itoki. Iga is counting on him now, so the council ends with both the leaders of Koga and Iga under arrest. When Itoki learns that his mother has been detained, he is shaken and deeply worried. Uncle Kuzu tells him Iga is innocent and urges him not to lose his head. Kosetsu wants to move immediately and rescue Yumika, but Tokisada stops her and says now is not the time to rush in blindly. Then he gives Itoki Yumika's message, which makes the weight of the situation finally hit. At Koga headquarters, the clan is informed that their acting leader has been arrested. Their response is immediate and brutal. They prepare to wipe out Iga village completely. Inside the NSC, Hayato sees the resolve of his team and tells them to follow their own sense of justice. But soon after, while in the observation room during Koga's testimony, he is suddenly attacked by Genji, revealing that Genji has been corrupt all along. The next morning in Iga, Itoki steps up as acting leader and the village accepts him. At the same time, in Yumika's cell, Genji arrives and coldly informs her that she has been sentenced to death. Then the story shifts into Kido Minobu's past. Since birth, his body had been weak, and he was constantly altered so he could survive as Koga's future leader. Those changes brought him nothing but pain. In the end, everything Koga tried created what they saw as a failure. He was abandoned by the very clan that shaped him. From that pain came one wish, that he had never been born a ninja at all, and that ninjas did not exist. Back in the present, Kido is released. The moment that happens, Koga activates an army of Asura ninja robots and gets ready to launch an assault on Iga. At the NSC, Genji announces that Hayato has disappeared, so from this point on, he will take full control as acting chief. Shione immediately objects, insisting Hayato was clearly in the middle of an operation. Genji ignores her and makes a second announcement. Kido Minobu is being freed because the evidence against him is not strong enough. While Sakuraba Yumika has officially been judged the mastermind behind Kishimaru's murder and sentenced to execution. The news throws the whole unit into chaos. Right after that, Genji names Shione the new captain of Unit 1. In her team room, Shione openly says the whole thing feels wrong. Hayato's sudden disappearance, Genji's behavior, the way Koga and Iga are being handled, it all feels suspicious. One member immediately objects, saying the NSC is supposed to be neutral no matter what. Even so, the unit decides they need to find out what happened to Hayato. Meanwhile, in Yumika's cell, Genji and Kido come to negotiate. They want the location of Iga's secret ninja core. Genji claims that handing it over would benefit all ninjas and help create a more peaceful future, and hints that her sentence could be reconsidered if she cooperates. Yumika refuses instantly. Kido argues that the secret core is the origin of all ninja cores, a nearly limitless source of energy. Combined with modern technology, it could push ninja development forward in a huge way, so he sees no reason it should stay sealed or be destroyed. Yumika answers that giving something so dangerous to someone like him is like handing a knife to a newborn child. Kido cannot understand why a woman who was not even born into the ninja world would throw away her life to protect it. He wonders if it is just a leader's pride. Yumika stands and answers with absolute force that someone like him would never understand. Realizing he cannot change her mind, Kido leaves. Genji then tells Yumika that the execution is scheduled for the next day and advises her to think it over while she still has time. Back in Iga village, word spreads fast that Yumika is going to be executed. Everyone is furious. Some want to gather fighters immediately and storm in to save her. But Uncle Kuzu warns that doing so would be the same as declaring war on the NSC, and Iga could be destroyed for it. There is no time left to waste. Takasada asks Itoki to officially cast him out of the village, so he can move on his own and try to save Yumika without dragging Iga into open conflict. Itoki, still young and overwhelmed, struggles to decide. Then Kosetsu steps forward, presses a knife toward him, and demands that he exile her too. For someone who grew up without a real family, Yumika is the closest thing she has ever had to a mother, and she refuses to stand by while this happens. In the middle of that pressure, Itoki finally makes his decision. He officially expels Takasada and Kosetsu, and orders everyone else in Aiga to focus on finding proof that Yumika is innocent. Outside the room, Kirei has secretly heard the entire plan. Back at Koga, Kido gathers the clan leaders again. Then Suzaku shares a key update from the spy he planted inside Aiga. Takasada has already left the village to rescue Yumika. That news excites Koga immediately. With one of Iga's strongest fighters gone, they see the opening they wanted. Suzaku also asks to join the front line, and they approve it on the spot. Outside, Housen stops his son and asks why he would throw himself into something so dangerous. He also questions whether forcing others to kneel through violence is really what Kishimaru stood for. Suzaku snaps back, saying that if he backs down now, he is nothing but a coward. At Koga's hidden base, their forces are already lined up and ready. When the council talks about attacking Aiga, Kido acts like he is asking for opinions, but the truth is he has already committed the army. Housen objects, arguing that the Asura units are still unfinished and should not be used in a major war yet. He calls the plan reckless and says it could ruin Koga's future. Kido answers by shooting him dead on the spot. That ends the debate. Koga moves forward with the invasion, and even spreads fake public reports about a chemical plant fire and unexploded bombs near Aiga to stir panic and cover their actions. By nightfall, the assault begins. Inside Aiga, everyone is brought to the command room, the heart of the village's defense. Koga breaks through the first line much faster than expected. During that clash, Shai, the loyal old servant of the Iga house, gives his life buying time. From there, Koga pushes deeper into the village. At the same time, over at NSC headquarters, Takasada and Kosetsu have already smashed through the guards and moved inside. Before reinforcements can fully respond, they use smoke to throw the place into chaos and cut through enemy forces with brutal teamwork. But just as they try to escape with Yumika, they are blocked by Genji and a large NSC force. He announces that all three of them will be arrested for breaking a prisoner out. Back in Aiga, Koga splits its invading army into two groups. Their goal is simple: crush the command center before morning. Then Suzaku gets a message through his signal device. It says, Kido killed Housen, and Suzaku himself may be next. Before he can even react properly, the messenger carrying the news is killed. Suzaku is left shaken, stunned, and unable to process what just happened. In Iga's command room, the real scale of the invasion finally becomes clear. Each Koga unit is made up of one human ninja and 4 mechanical ninjas. That shocks everyone. They knew Koga had new tools, but not this. The robot troops are not individually overwhelming, but there are too many of them, and they keep coming. The numbers are brutal. Koga's force is about 10 times larger, and with Takasada and Kosetsu away, Iga is badly exposed. Kirei says they should think about retreating. Over at NSC headquarters, Takasada and the others are still trapped by Genji. Takasada tells Kosetsu to take Yumika and run while he stays behind alone to hold them off. Even by himself, he tears through the NSC fighters with ease. Then Shioni arrives with her own unit. Genji assumes she came to back him up. She did not. Instead, her team arrests Genji for Hayato's murder. They solved the case after catching Koga-linked operatives at an NSC crematorium, where they were about to burn Hayato's body. That makes Genji the main suspect. Back in Aiga, the battle is still barely holding together, but the longer it drags on, the worse it gets. Aiga cannot keep matching endless reinforcements from the mechanical army. The command center can only try to hold the line, and pray Takasada makes it back soon. At the same time, they begin studying how the robot ninjas work. Meanwhile, at Koga's war room, the leaders get updates on how many Asura units have been destroyed, and smugly predict that Aiga will fall within the hour. But on Aiga's side, Raiha notices something huge. The ninja cores powering the machines are weak. Each robot can only stay active for about 1 hour before running dry. Soon, frontline reports confirm it. Several mechanical ninjas suddenly pulled back in unnatural ways during combat. That proves Raiha is right, and it also explains why Koga wants Aiga's secret core so badly. If that core really holds near endless energy, It would solve the biggest weakness in Koga's mechanical army. Raiha quickly suggests the best move. Find the charging points and destroy them. After narrowing it down, they identify 5 likely locations where Koga may be refueling the machines. Then Itoki volunteers to go. Everyone is shocked. Kuzu objects right away, saying it is too dangerous. But Itoki refuses to stay behind while everyone else is risking their lives. He says he cannot just sit in safety while the village fights for survival. Then he reminds them that, as the acting leader, protecting Aiga is his responsibility too. Hearing that, Suzunon says she is going with him. Itoki tries to stop her, saying this is his clan's problem, not hers. But she refuses to stay out of it. She says she cannot watch something her father helped create, get used for war and do nothing. Seeing that both of them are serious, Kuzu finally gives in. He allows them to go, but only after making them promise one thing. If things get too dangerous, they must turn back immediately. At Koga's command room, one bad report after another keeps piling up. Genji has been taken in, Tokusada got away, and even after all this time, Iga still has not fallen. That failure pushes Kido into a rage. Near Aiga, Yumika and Kosetsu arrive and immediately notice something is off. The whole area is buried under a heavy, unnatural fog. Kosetsu contacts Tokusada, and he warns her that communications are being blocked. Since he cannot get a clear read on what is happening inside the village, he suspects Koga attacked while they were gone. He tells them to stay hidden and move carefully, but Yumika refuses to stand aside. She says no leader would watch their village burn from the shadows, so she orders Kosetsu to take her straight to the mansion. Elsewhere, Itoki and Suzunon continue scouting and finally discover one of the power stations feeding Koga's machine soldiers. The place is packed with mechanical ninjas, and because it is so close to the source, they do not have to worry about running out of energy. Suzunon thinks they should report back first, but Itoki wants to blow it up immediately. She pulls out 2 special tools meant to trigger a huge blast. The problem is that the charging unit is built tough, so the explosives have to be attached directly to it. That makes the whole plan insanely dangerous. Even so, Suzunon refuses to leave. She says a ninja toolmaker is supposed to stand behind the people fighting, not run from the battle. That commitment hits Itoki hard. The two go in, but Suzaku intercepts them before they can finish the job, and both get captured. Then, right when everything seems lost, a masked ninja disguised as one of the enemy slips in and plants the charge anyway. Moments later, the station erupts in a massive explosion that tears through the area. After the blast, Suzunon quickly wakes Itoki and tells him they need to head back because the mission worked. But before leaving, Itoki checks on the person who saved them and finds out the mystery helper was actually Kirei. She admits she could not live with the part she played in Aiga's invasion and decided to make up for it, even if it cost her life. The 3 of them escape together. At Koga, the destruction of the charging system throws the leadership into panic. They order a retreat, while Kido quietly slips away without saying much. Once the mission is done, Itoki contacts the command center and confirms the target was destroyed and the village is still holding. Mitsuzo is relieved, though he still warns Itoki not to throw himself into danger like that again. With no time to waste, Itoki, Kirei, and Suzunon start racing back to base. Meanwhile, at NSC headquarters, Shione visits Genji, who is now locked up for Hayato's murder. She demands the truth, but he acts arrogant and refuses to say anything without legal protection. Shione tells him they already caught a Koga ninja trying to dispose of Hayato's body, and that person connected Genji to the crime. Even then, Genji will not bend. After telling him to remember what justice is supposed to mean, she leaves. Alone in his cell, Genji begins focusing his mind like he is preparing to use some hidden technique. Back at Aiga, Yumika and Kosetsu finally make it to the mansion. Kuzu thanks Kosetsu for bringing Yumika back and tells the clan leader that Itoki handled himself well while acting in her place. Yumika is proud to hear that. Then everything goes wrong. Kosetsu suddenly grabs her head in pain. Her expression changes. Her eyes turn red and she loses control of herself. In front of everyone, she pulls a knife and demands the location of Aiga's secret core. Word reaches Itoki and he rushes back. Inside the mansion, Kosetsu corners Yumika in a room and aggressively interrogates her. Even after being hit, Yumika stays calm and keeps treating Kosetsu like family. That is when the truth becomes clear. Genji is controlling Kosetsu from inside his cell. While Yumika is trying to comfort her, Kosetsu stabs her. By the time Itoki returns, it is already over. He finds his mother lying in blood, motionless on the floor, while Kosetsu stands nearby in complete shock. The next morning, the country is flooded with reports of bizarre incidents: strange fog, jammed phone signals, fires, blackouts, factory blasts, and other disasters. But none of it is random. Those places all belong to leaders who stood against Koga during the council. Kido is hunting down everyone who opposed him. At the mansion, Itoki is crushed by Yumika's death. What breaks him even more is that the person who struck her was someone he had trusted since childhood. Over at Koga, reports come in saying the Hachi, Bison, and Hibaki groups have already been wiped out, and the second assault on Iga is getting close. Kido gives his side one final chance to finish the job. If they fail, they lose their lives too. Somewhere else, Suzaku is warned not to return to Koga because Kido now sees anyone outside his control as disposable. He also learns why his father died. Hausen opposed ruling through fear because he actually cared about the village's future, and more than anything, he was trying to protect Suzaku. Back in Iga, a formal clan meeting begins. There, Itaki signs the Covenant Scroll and stamps it with the red seal, officially becoming the 19th head of Iga. The moment that happens, the room fills with anger. Some demand immediate revenge against Koga. Others call for Kosetsu's execution. Itoki stops the chaos and asks everyone to wait until Yumika's funeral is over before acting. The next day, Suzunon says she has to return home because her father contacted her. Kirei also decides to leave. Suzunon wants to stay for the funeral because Yumika was so kind to her. When Kirei is asked the same, she hesitates. Around the same time, Shione meets with Takasada and tells him that Hayato's killers are still in custody and that the founder of the NSC has temporarily taken charge. She also hands over notes showing links between Genji and Koga. Shione is determined to make Koga answer for what it has done, but she also wants to know whether Kosetsu had any true connection to them. Suzunon says she does not believe Kosetsu was a willing traitor and asks Shione to investigate Yumika's death properly. Hearing that clearly rattles Kirei. Later that day, Takasada brings Itoki to see Kosetsu. She has been tied down because she has tried to kill herself several times. When she speaks, she says she only remembers hearing a bell-like sound in her head. After that, everything went blank. The next thing she knew, Yumika was lying in blood in front of her. She says she deserves to die, because after what happened, there is no meaning left in her life. Then Tokasada tells them the full truth. Kosetsu is actually Kido's daughter, born from a secret relationship. Like other children used by Koga, she was planted elsewhere as a spy. A microchip was implanted in her brain when she was young, allowing her to be controlled from a distance. Kosetsu breaks down and asks why Takasada knew this and never threw her out. His answer is simple and painful. He told Yumika long ago, back when she first wanted to take Kosetsu in. Even knowing the truth, Yumika still chose to raise her. She accepted her completely. Even the name Kosetsu, meaning red snow, was something Yumika gave her herself. Hearing that destroys her, Itoki steps forward and holds Kosetsu as she cries. At the same time, Tokasada admits something else. There may still be another spy inside Iga. Elsewhere, Kido listens to a report about Iga's condition and smugly decides he does not need to act yet. As far as he is concerned, a child like Itoki taking control only makes things easier. Back in Fuma village, Kirei tries to report everything to her father, but assassins sent by Koga have already surrounded them. Her father gives his life so she can escape. Meanwhile, Suzunon goes to see her father in the hospital. He tries to act like things are fine, but she quickly sees the truth: he has lost one of his hands. He tells her that Koga's factory workers were being pushed and abused, and when he stood up to protect the people suffering there, that was the price he paid. Suzunon rushes to him and breaks down crying, realizing how much pain her father and their village had been carrying all along. After Yumika's funeral, Itaki is still crushed. He sits in front of her picture, trying to pray, but really he is just struggling to believe any of this is real. The following evening, Suzaku shows up out of nowhere. Their conversation turns ugly fast, and it ends in a fight after Suzaku pushes too far and asks him what it feels like to lose someone precious. Suzaku then admits his own father died for opposing Kido's campaign to crush other villages, and says he is still fighting because he wants revenge. Later, when Suzaku goes back to his apartment, he starts searching through his room and notices an old photo of himself with his father. Something about it feels strange. He opens the frame and finds a hidden memory card inside. Once he loads it on his computer, he finds video files showing Kishimaru's last meeting with Kido. In the footage, Kishimaru rejects his brother's vision of a world without ninjas. Kido argues that ninjas should be erased and replaced with the Asura army, letting him control the country from the shadows. Kishimaru calls that tyranny, not peace, and begs him to stop. Kido refuses. He says Kishimaru could never understand real suffering, then kills him because he stands in the way. Watching this, Suzaku is shattered. He had spent all this time blaming Iga for Kishimaru's death, only to learn that the man he trusted most murdered him himself. Back in Iga, a message arrives from Kido demanding that the village hand over the secret ninja core and surrender completely. The clan is furious and ready to strike back, but Itoki tells everyone to hold off. If they act on anger now, the people of Iga will be the ones who pay for it. Soon after, he gathers the village and announces the choice he made. He says he will give Koga the secret core if they agree to leave Iga independent. Almost no one believes Koga would ever honor that deal. Even so, Itoki refuses to change course. He tells them plainly that this is his decision, and if anyone cannot accept it, they are free to leave. Then he walks out, leaving the room in uproar. At the same time, the principal brings word of Iga's peace offer to the NSC. Shion wants to fight it, but without proof, there is not much she can do. The principal points out that Iga's move has at least forced Koga into a tighter corner and may stop an even bigger war from breaking out. Still, it is clear the NSC is walking into a deeper crisis than before. Over in Koga, they are not pleased either. Kido has no real intention of settling things peacefully. His goal is simple: get the secret core first, then launch another total assault on Iga. Before that, he wants the Asura project fully ready. Later, Shione meets Itoki and tells him Koga still has not answered, and the NSC is getting dragged around while trying to deal with them. She is frustrated and ashamed that the organization has been so useless, while Iga keeps suffering. Itoki tries to calm her, then stops her before she leaves because he still has something on his mind. Elsewhere, Kirei goes to the ruins of Sishu village to see Susanone. Down in the basement, Susanone is still working alone, carrying on the duty of her destroyed village as its last survivor. Seeing her cry, Kirei finally breaks. She admits that she was the one who fed Koga information about Iga. The invasion, the confusion, even Yumika's death were all connected to the choices she made. She says she betrayed everyone, but after hearing all of it, Susanone still tells her she believes she is a good friend. The two end up holding each other and crying together. That night, Suzaku meets Kido and says he found the hidden video his father left behind. Instead of exposing him, he uses it to prove his loyalty and declares that he wants to live and die as a Koga ninja. Kido accepts that and lets him join the next assault on Iga. The following morning, Iga holds another clan meeting. A lot of people still reject the peace plan, and some even demand that Itoki step down because they think the role is too much for him. Itoki shuts that down immediately. He refuses to give up his authority, no matter how angry they get. At the same time, Suzaku is suddenly jumped and restrained by Koga's own men. Kido never actually trusted him. Suzaku manages to fight them off and learns that Koga plans to attack Iga the next day. Not long after, Kirei arrives at Iga hoping to see Itoki, but Tokisada stops her. She says she only wants to apologize for lying to him and betraying him all this time. Tokisada then tells her something important. She was not the real traitor. Yes, she caused damage, but she also helped destroy the machine ninja base, which saved Iga. He tells her Itoki cannot meet her right now because he is carrying too much and does not have space for anything else. Another quiet, heavy day passes. Susanone sends something away by owl. Kirei cuts off her hair by the old stream, like she is trying to sever herself from who she used to be. Tokisada and Kaosetsu keep silently watching over Itoki while he stays shut away, writing. Meanwhile, some people inside Iga decide they should take control of Itoki and the secret core themselves. That information quickly reaches Kido, who orders his hidden agent in Iga to move while Tokisada is out. Everything has already been set in motion. As everyone gets into place, Raiha quietly heads toward Itoki's room ahead of the others, but Uncle Kuzu is already waiting there. He questions why she left her post. That is when the truth finally comes out. Raiha was the traitor. The two attack each other immediately. Kuzu explains that Itoki had already figured it out. The person truly responsible for Yumika's death was never Kaosetsu. It was the mole still hiding inside Iga. Since Koga had stayed one step ahead the whole time, exposing that person became the most important goal. Everything up to this moment had been part of a trap planned by Itoki, Tokisada, and the others. Once Raiha realizes she has been exposed, she curses Iga, but before anyone can question her, she drinks poison and dies. Then Itoki's letter is revealed. In it, he apologizes for deceiving everyone. He explains that Koga's real aim was never just revenge. What they truly want is power enough to control the entire ninja world. Tokisada adds that Housen's death also looks suspicious, meaning the deeper plot is even uglier than they thought. Because of Itoki's letter, the whole village finally understands what Koga has really been after. Elsewhere, after taking care of Koga's men, Suzaku crosses paths with Tokisada. He says almost nothing, only handing over the video that proves Kido killed Kishimaru, then disappearing. Back in Iga, Itoki's letter includes one more order. If Koga attacks, the villagers are not to die defending the place. They are to run. As long as the people live, Iga still lives. Once Tokisada's update confirms the situation, Itoki finally accepts that there is no path left through words. Peace talks are over, so he makes one last choice. While Koga launches its attack on Iga, he will slip into enemy territory himself and confront Kido directly. Tokisada strongly objects and says it is suicidal. But Itoki has already decided. This time, he is going to move using Iga's secret ninja core. Back in Iga, Kuzu and the others are shaken when they realize Itoki crossed out his own name from the village records. Everyone wants to chase after him and back him up, but Kuzu stops them. He says the best thing they can do now is stay and hold off Koga, buying Itoki the time he needs. Out on the snow-covered road, Itoki keeps moving forward with Kosetsu and Tokisada right behind him. He tells them to turn back, but he has already stepped away from being leader, so he no longer has the right to order them. He wanted Kosetsu to survive no matter what, and he hoped Tokisada would remain behind to help the villagers escape safely. Neither of them agrees. Both choose to walk with him straight into enemy territory. In the end, Itoki gives in. Inside Koga, the final assault plan is already locked in. Midnight is the start time, and they intend to finish everything within half an hour. Their numbers are not what they used to be, but they are still prepared. The moment Itoki's group enters Koga Corporation, the reception staff hits the emergency alarm. The building seals shut, and armed ninjas close in around them. Watching from above, Kido looks completely relaxed, almost entertained, as if he already sees the ending. At that same moment, the battle at Iga begins. Kuzu and the others stand ready to protect both their home and the balance of peace. Inside the Koga building, the first clash erupts fast. Gas suddenly fills the floor, and Susanone and Kirei appear, jumping into the fight. They decide to stay on the lower level and hold off the enemies there, so Itoki, Kosetsu, and Tokisada can keep climbing. On the second floor, more Koga fighters stand in their way. Even now, Itoki still tries words first. He asks for peace one last time. Their answer is a swarm of robot ninjas. Kosetsu is ready to charge, but Itoki stops her and steps forward instead. He unleashes Iga's secret core and wipes out the machines in a single blast. The attack works, but the cost is huge. It drains him so badly he nearly drops on the spot. Tokisada moves in to cover him while Kosetsu drags him onward. As the fighting spreads below, Itoki and Kosetsu finally reach the level where Kido's room is located. But more guards wait there, including Himura and his father. Then Suzaku appears from behind and opens fire on them without hesitation. He and Itoki exchange only one look before understanding each other. Itoki tells Kosetsu to move, leaving Suzaku behind to handle the fight. That lets Itoki and Kosetsu force their way into Kido's office. Inside, Itoki tries one last time to push for peace, though now his words also carry a warning. Kido laughs in his face. He mocks Itoki for talking about peace while lacking the nerve to kill. Itoki still asks him why he wanted to crush every village, and why Yumika had to die. He even wonders out loud if Kido hated being born into the ninja world and wanted to destroy the whole system, so nobody else would have to live the same kind of life. Outside, Suzaku defeats Himura and even turns him into a hostage for a moment. Himura and his father still believe power and control are all that matter. Peace means nothing to them. Himura, still furious over Suzaku's betrayal and everything that happened at school, suddenly stabs him. Even badly wounded, Suzaku refuses to stop. He says he wants to rebuild Koga into something better, a village with warmth, not the cold place it became. Back inside the office, Kido sneers at Itoki's attempt to understand him. He openly admits that Yumika died simply because she was in his way. Hearing that, Itoki and Kosetsu stop wasting words and turn to leave. And that is when the truth of the setup lands. Everything Kido just said has been recorded on the device Itoki brought with him and sent directly to the NSC. Earlier, he secretly worked with Shione to gather proof strong enough for the NSC to finally act. The moment the evidence is confirmed, the order is given. Shione and the NSC strike team blow their way into the building and rush inside. Kido sees it happen on the monitors and drops the act immediately. He unleashes his own ninja core and attacks Itoki head-on, aiming to take him down with him. The force is terrifying. Kaosetsu throws herself in front of Itoki, but the attack blasts her aside. Kido keeps coming, forcing Itoki into a desperate close fight. His core is even more destructive than Aiga's, and it becomes obvious how dangerous he truly is. With Kaosetsu's help and a brief opening, Itoki manages to strike at Kido's core, but it barely dents it. The thing is insanely tough. Still, the battle keeps building until Itoki finally drives him back. Elsewhere, Suzaku is bleeding badly but still standing. Even then, all he wants is to kill Kido himself for Housen and Kishimaru. Inside the office, Kido's past comes into view. He was born unwanted, treated like nothing, and raised in misery by Koga. But Itoki refuses to let that become an excuse. He tells him life is unfair to everyone. Suffering does not justify destroying everything and everyone around you. He says hate leads nowhere, and he still refuses to kill him. Then Itoki turns away. That single moment gives Kido the chance to grab his weapon again. A shot rings out, but it is not Itoki or Kaosetsu who falls. Tokisada arrives at the last second and kills Kido himself. By then, Shione and the NSC are already there. They witness the scene. After only a few final words, Tokisada jumps from the building and disappears before anyone can stop him. Shione has no choice but to do her job. A wanted notice goes out for Tokisada for killing Koga's leader, even though it is obvious she does not want things to end like this. In the aftermath, Suzanone, Kirei, and Suzaku all survive, though injured, thanks to the NSC stepping in. The fighting is finally over. Later, Itoki and Kaosetsu walk side by side along the same snowy road, heading toward an uncertain future. Years pass. With Shione's help, Iga and Koga somehow keep their relationship intact. Tokisada remains missing, and Shione never gives up searching for him. Seishu Village continues on, and Suzanone grows into a talented ninja tool maker just like her father. Kirei becomes a successful actress, which suits her perfectly since playing roles was always her greatest skill. Suzaku, older now and wearing his hair long like Kishimaru, becomes the new head of Koga. And from Kaosetsu, standing before the Sakuraba family graves, we learn what became of Itoki. He chose a normal life. He grew up to become an ordinary office worker. But even after all of that, he never really changed. He stayed kind, gentle, and always ready to help people around him. In the end, everyone seems to have reached the quiet life they were once fighting for. And that's where this video ends. Watch this following video until a new one.